Ashley, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
How's life? Real estate it up, podcasting it up.
I know. I'm telling like everyone our age.
Got all the
I
slack
know,
you get.
we've been working for so long. Working like on too many things.
I got all my I shouldn't have said yes. I have to leave my
Well,
house,
okay.
you know?
I'll try to get you guys done real quick. You're early in the agenda, so.
Sure, yeah, okay, that makes sense.
So I'll read the proclamation and then I'll invite you guys up to say a few words and if you want to get. Okay, perfect. Yeah. And then we can all stand up and. Yeah.
Good? How are you? Good. Were you?
Good? Easy?
Somewhat. Mostly.
Perfect tonight.
Yeah.
Must be a restroom break.
Keeps rolling in.
Gonna take advantage.
Thinking about development.
Boys and girls.
Yeah. It's kind of weird though. It's like doing a lot of staking houses and stuff for builders. But do nothing with real estate. Yeah. But it's weird. They're still building houses. I guess my point is they're still building houses.
Oh, yeah.
Like I'm still staking them.
They just don't, need realtors.
The lot's already sold. I mean, somebody last year.
Maybe. I'm sure that's the case for some of it. Especially guys like an Edgemont.
For the meeting, not the work session.
Well, thanks for what you guys do.
Well, they've been on Zoom. They've been on Zoom and
Oh, yeah,
YouTube.
thanks for saying that. They're awesome, by
This
the way.
last,
Oh, they're like the coolest clients I've ever had.
Yeah, they were so yeah,
well, that's
she
what
was
I'm trying to figure out.
told me you
So
were, because
we
I saw your
talked
sign.
about
Because
the,
I didn't know, you represented that.
action
So I was like,
minutes.
oh, guys, a friend of mine.
And I said, well, we'll have a recording. And I asked Nicole, I said, you can't save those forever because the
He's
size
okay.
of,
She texted me that, she's like, thank you so
I
much.
mean, you start to pay for storage. We can do that.
They got the best of that.
Now, the state has a written policy. It has to be the minutes, the paper minutes that they sign are the only official document.
Amen on the tired. Tired.
Start reminding myself for the next few of these of just like, won't be
Tonight shouldn't be bad. We're gonna
And
get
I
through this.
think what we really need to do is if this is something the direction they would like to go, is basically have a resolution for anything that's probably more in addition to the retention schedule. Because retention schedule, I think there's 4 things you have to save, like water certificates. There's 4 things, but minutes basically have to be permanent. It doesn't matter if they're paper. Yeah. It's that either, but the thing is, it just takes so long. It's gonna be a good conversation. Here's a day.
So this one, right is that one. And just that one.
Callie Rizzi. Yeah, I agree.
Okay. Let's
This is
do
what
this.
it's gonna be.
Let's get this show on the road.
Charlene.
Hey guys,
Guys.
we're gonna Charlene, Lori.
I want to go home sometime.
Yeah. All right. Time is now 7:45. I'd like to call this meeting to order dated Tuesday, June 6, 2023.
Recording in progress.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzara.
Here.
Trustee Hartz.
Here.
Trustee Moreland.
Here.
Trustee Thomas. Here. Trustee Wolf.
Here.
Trustee Ah.
Here.
Mayor Tarkington.
Here. All right, would everybody please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
All right. Does the board have any conflicts of interest to announce at this time? Seeing none, we will move on to general public input. If anybody from the audience would like to address the board, please step forward, state your name and address for the record, and you can have the floor. All right. Did everybody get a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes, Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve the agenda with the adjustment of tabling item 2A.
So we'll just table at that time, make a motion at the time. So we can approve the agenda as presented.
Okay, approve the agenda as presented.
Okay.
I'll second it.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzara?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
It's approved.
All right, at this time, I would like to read a proclamation for Boys and Girls Club Week, and I do see we have some representatives from Boys and Girls Club.
Hey, hi,
I would
Vaughn.
invite you up after I read the proclamation. So, in the town of Bayfield, Colorado, for June 26th through 30th, 2023. Whereas Bayfield's investment in children is realized when they become adults, and whereas children are the foundation on which our future success is built, and whereas children seek parents, mentors, and friends to aid them in reaching important goals, and whereas families and communities play vital roles in helping children develop a positive self-image, sense of belonging, and a sense of competence, and whereas the Boys and Girls Club of La Plata County serves over 1,700 community youth each year through club membership, engaging programs, fun activities, and school and community outreach, and whereas Boys and Girls Club Week emphasizes the importance of meaningful time spent with kids during this week and every week, all year long. And now therefore, I, Ashley Tarkington, Mayor of Bayfield, Colorado, do hereby proclaim June 26th through 30th as Boys and Girls Club Week for youth in Bayfield, and call on all citizens to join together in recognizing and commending the Boys and Girls Clubs organizations in our area for providing their contributions and commitment to improving the lives of the children and young adults in our communities. Given under my hand on this 6th day of June, 2023. All right, would you like to step up and introduce yourselves? And I think they want a photo op.
My name is Eric Nelson. I'm here representing the club. I know several of you from other capacities, but it's a pleasure and a joy to be here tonight for this. So just want to say thanks for the proclamation. A couple things I wanted to point out is when Bayfield went to the 4-day school week, the club kind of stepped in, and so was it 60 Bayfield kids come every Friday to the club, and now they have a full-time program in Bayfield too. So it's pretty exciting for this community. So I just want to say thanks so much, but I'll let Vaughn, the CEO, speak.
Know lots of you in capacities as well. Tom, it's been a long time, you know. So raising my family in the community and not having a Boys and Girls Club has been one of the major challenges for me as a professional, and being able to partner with the school district and the support of the town to finally get that experience that all kids deserve has been super exciting, you know. And we're looking at this Friday, you know, program was great. Now this summer we'll be there again, and then ultimately after school. The old Boys and Girls Club motto was every kid deserves a good clubbing. That was the 70s. Now, yeah, right? Like every kid. Now it's, you know, great future start here. And I've always known the commitment of Bayfield to our youth and being able to finally stand this thing up. And so on June 28th at 2:30, if you're roaming around the community, cruise over to the intermediate school and have some ice cream, because that's one of the big things we're going to be doing, is doing the ice cream social. So we really appreciate the recognition for what we're trying to achieve in collaboration with all of you and our community at large. But we're going to let the kids have a little go. A couple club members that have been coming all school year, so I'm going to give it to them, and I may have to take this out.
on me. All right, can you speak up? Tell them how awesome it is loud, all right?
My name is Jackson McAllister, and one of my favorite things about Boys and Girls Club is how fun the staff are, and we normally go on a lot of really fun field trips, and also I also have a lot of friends there, so I can hang out with them, and because they don't really live close to me, so I get to hang out with them on those days.
Nice.
Really cool tie-dye.
Yeah.
I see that.
Nice.
Gotta have that.
My name is Riley McAllister. I'm his sister. Some of my favorite parts that we do at Boys and Girls Club is the fun crafts that we do. Last time I was there, we made ice cream in a bag. It was really fun. We also play a lot of interesting games that I've never played before. And we do a lot of fun crafts, which most of them I don't know.
But it's fun, right?
Nice.
Well, thank you for everything
Thank
you
you.
do, and thank you for
Yeah.
being
Thank
here.
you.
And did you, sure,
Yeah.
we'll get the board to squish in here, and you can have a copy of the proclamation there.
Stand in the middle and fold that up and face.
Turn that way. Yeah. All right, we'll make sure we get that to you. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Crystal ball. in your hand.
And you're welcome to stay for our meeting, but, you know.
They stayed for quite a while already.
Okay, moving on. So I would entertain a motion to table the minutes till June 18th.
I'll try that again.
Okay.
So I'd like to make a motion to table the minutes from May 16th, 2023.
Second.
All right, roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
That's unanimous.
All right, and Katie, did you want to talk about our action minutes request? Oh, did it die?
Yes. So we have the Zoom recording, and the Zoom recording is something that only is accessible to Nicole, myself, and Kathy. And so when Amber wanted to do the minutes, she didn't have access to them. And so Kathy is just kind of forgotten that Kathy had to give that access to Amber to do the minutes. So we do have recordings of minutes. It's just a matter of the three of us only have the Zoom access. We will move that in July when we have a new Zoom account. We'll move that to Amber Lamb. But we've also talked about action minutes, and I know there's some concerns that there wouldn't be, full discussion about why you made a decision. So I've kind of given you kind of a little table here. It would have the date, the time, the place, attending. It could be only the officials, the elected officials that are actually making the decision, or B, both elected officials, town staff, and town consultants, which could be our town attorney, a town engineer, anybody that we've hired on our part to present an item, and then whoever was absent. So I got agenda number, a brief description, and then the one thing that I think we need to make sure that we have on there is who makes the motion and who seconds the motion. Who's the yays or who's the nays, or it could be there's 5 in favor or 2 against. I know that Trustee Aw would like to make sure that he's identified as, making a nay vote, and that's certainly something that could be up to this board. And then the action outcome. So it was passed, or it was failed, or whatever the action was. The things that you want to make sure of is that you have any conditions of approval and action. Currently, right now, they're in a Word document that most of the staff members already have in a packet, so it could be almost copied and pasted, unless the board deleted or added or changed a condition. That certainly would be easier to add. And then the individuals speak on an agenda item will note their agenda item, and the sign-in sheet will be attached to the final minutes. So, in other words, this sheet up here would not just be their name, address, and contact information. It would be, what items are you going to speak on? And instead of redoing it or trying to figure out spelling or whatever else, it's just copied and just added as part of the minutes. And of course, then discussion items would be very simple: agenda item, brief description, and who it is. And only during a meeting, not necessarily during a work session like we just had earlier. The work session is we're just working things out. And then action minutes with a public hearing would be basically agenda item, brief description, identify the staff that provides a report, and then again, the individuals will speak on that issue. Keep in mind, in a public hearing, you don't make a decision, but it would be good to know who spoke about that. This is really your call. I cannot find any ordinance or resolution that identifies how you're supposed to provide the minutes, or how the town clerk was to provide the minutes. I think Attorney Goldman's made it, pretty. We've had that discussion about, do we need more information? The demolition of the tower in Fox Farm. Would you have wanted more information about why that decision was made? Well, that may have been part of the conditions and findings that would be in these types of action minutes. But would you like more information in minutes? I usually review really just kind of fast read minutes. I don't usually go detail by detail. I don't know how the board reads those, but you approve those every meeting. So I think this would be a good discussion to determine if, what your take is on that. I think, any input from the town staff or consultants. And then we'd like some action tonight, but that's not necessarily as important as determining where you're at on this topic.
Everybody spends hours looking through those minutes. This whole board, I know. I like this. I think it streamlines it. I'm fine with it. I do like keeping the naming who was in favor, who was opposed. I agree with Tom on that. I would like to see that in there. Like I said, we have it backed up. If we have to go back and watch anything, we have that ability.
We have a recording, but keep in mind, those paper minutes are permanent. That recording, a recording takes a lot of storage space, and eventually, it may seem really easy this year and next year and maybe 5 years from now, but after a while you have recording. Keep in mind the 8-track tapes and things that are difficult to now, there's nothing to watch them on. Somebody gave me a DVD. I was like, well, I have nothing to watch it with. Thank you.
Katie, may I ask a question?
Go ahead.
So I know you've been going back in time a lot since you've been here to figure out why things are the way they were, or how was this documented, or was it documented? So based on when you have had to do research and you're not finding things, do you think by changing the way we're now doing our meeting minutes, that if years from now someone's like, well, why did they do that? And they're looking in our minutes, would the information would we be finding it? I hate how it seems like things really weren't documented really well previously. And I think our meeting minutes are pretty comprehensive. So I would hate if we had a motion or did something that someone questions years down the line, and then we don't have a lot of the context and information documented.
I think that you have a point there. and you're going to have minutes regarding the tower. We did have written minutes, but keep in mind that we can't find any records from like the 1970s.
Well,
And they should be permanent. They should be somewhere at town hall. So we don't know if they're still at the museum or where they may be. So it's part of that permanent record that you want to go back to. How much do you want to go back to things? I'll just explain to you one, and I just pulled up. This would be in the end of March because it was in the packet of April 4th. So this is Parks and Recreation Director report. Parks and Recreation Director Orendorf made comments in reference to current and spring sports team, open gym, upcoming programs, such as the group fitness class, spring festival, blah, 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 blah. It's basically almost 7 lines of information that you didn't even make a decision on. So, perhaps maybe something was discussion item. It's just, Parks and Rec Director Orendorf came up, gave his report. And his report is actually also required as a permanent packet. So you don't even have to have that in the minutes. If there's something that sways a decision back and forth, we don't want to be too subjective in how we choose what that's going to be, but maybe there's a little bit more information and making sure, that especially with land use items, that Nicole's very clear what those decisions are.
And then I think it will help us be better with findings and conditions. We know that that's what's being reported.
So am I to understand that this would take the place of all of the minutes, or is this added into the minutes?
This would be instead of the full, right now you have
Green,
discussion
yeah.
and action
So
in your minutes.
would it just take place of the action part of our minutes?
And discussion. So in other words, 7 lines, and Ryan Orendorf's report is already in a packet that we're required to keep permanently anyway. So that's discussion. An action item, let me just see if I can find an action item here really quickly.
Well, and I think a lot of the reason we're having to go back and look at things is because there was no follow-through on a lot of these actions. And
Right,
that
no.
was,
I like this, don't get me wrong, but I do think that it could miss the piece of how we came to determine something.
So we
And
had
that's the only thing that, and I get that you have whatever was presented by, like Jeremy or Parks and Recs or, whatever, and that they have their piece of it, but what would be missing is where we make our comments.
Yep.
And so I would want to, just like we want to know who was a yes and who was a no, what was the comment that made them the no?
So I'll give you an idea. Agenda item 3C in the end of March is about fencing and lift station locations. It was almost a page long. I have,
And I'm not saying like we need to have this whole discussion of a page long of why, but just maybe so-and-so objected because of, or commented negative regarding XYZ. I mean, it doesn't have to be.
The transcript.
Exactly. It doesn't have to be a transcript, and it doesn't have to be, because we basically are transcribing. We're actually not making what I would consider minutes.
Yep.
Because we're adding every piece of word that's in there.
so when you think about a motion and a second, a lot of times it would be called for, is there any further discussion? And then it would be, Trustee Aw disagrees with this because of whatever, and Trustee Hart's is going to vote in favor for whatever. That could be the brief discussion.
So we would have to reiterate the discussion. So if you have a
Well,
discussion, you object to something, you go
This
and
is
make the
reason-
motion, you make your second, then when you want to talk about it, you got to say it again
Yeah.
to have it in the notes.
if you will.
And the
if
reason
you
you're
need to
making,
be on-
that
on
decision.
record for that.
And you spent a lot of time in discussion. You get to the motion, you make a second, and you're making a vote almost instantaneously. It's thinking about, do we want to slow that portion between motion second and actually taking a roll call down a little bit, and then you're going to have very specific items that you've said that are in the reason that you've made that decision.
Because some of it might just be we're discussing to, make sure we even understand.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, I read this, I read the packet, I just need to discuss it. I don't necessarily need everything I've said on the record somewhere. If I want something on the record, then, as you just said, after the motion and second, I can be like, yeah, I just would like to note that this is why I'm saying yes.
And that's, and
Yeah.
usually,
And that
and
makes
usually I
sense.
always, I try to ask for, hey, now's your time to speak, now or forever hold your peace. And I do like when you do state, there's times I'm like, I want everyone to know how I feel and I want to
Yeah.
end there. So I agree if it's,
I'm fine, because half the times I'm asking questions, because I have that doesn't need to be on the permanent record, that I had no idea what we were talking about.
So a lot, and I know this is, of course, I'm going to bring it up. A lot of the times I mention, where are we paying for this? Where is it coming from? So I don't want to have to each time reiterate that. Can we just make it a set thing that if you're asking for any kind of money change, money approval, money anything, or something that's going to cost money, for it to be included in what's submitted to the town? Because then I don't have to ask it. It's already there.
I think that's fair.
Okay. Because part of the reason I asked that too is I would say that 90% of the time I actually know the answer, but I ask it so that everybody understands that's watching or has a comment or reads our minutes can see that we thought about it, that there was thought put into that. We didn't just spend money willy-nilly.
Fiscally responsible.
Exactly.
so it'll look like a hybrid somewhere in between our current minutes and then using this format just to,
Somebody very happy
at
to
it.
go anywhere less.
is that, are you,
We can see how it goes.
Yeah, I mean, those were
yeah, it
my
makes-
only concerns, was missing the comments. If that's, you want it included in the minutes, you have to state it again when you ask that question.
It's-
And
Yeah, I think that's it. Just slowing it down a little bit between the second and the roll call, just enough to say, is there?
yeah, give us a second.
Yeah, a
'cause
second
we
to
usually
think
go
about,
so quick to it, you can't.
I'm going to vote against this because of whatever. And that would be a lot easier than, the half a page that's,
that we previously talked
Finally,
about?
Right,
yeah,
exactly.
blah, blah,
And I'm way okay with that. I don't have a problem with that. As long as we have a way.
Here too, as we're reviewing minutes that are older to understand why decisions are made, because right now, we don't even have that piece in there.
Right.
So I would like a motion. And we can practice today.
So, I think we're on board with having some sort of a hybrid of the action minutes, including any further discussion before
Did you
vote.
want to add anything?
That, I think that's what we're looking for, motion-wise. I would entertain one.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the change in taking the minutes to the action minute form and include any items that are,
For further discussion.
any items for further discussion. There was another way she put it too.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
And motion carries.
I would just say brief longer, because I didn't hardly have a
Jump
chance
in.
to think
Be
about
on it. I mean,
Well, but so I,
I try to always include that in
just
that
a
section.
second longer.
All right.
Ashley, you don't know what it was like that one time you weren't here.
Okay.
We had a lot of discussion.
All right, we're moving on to. I tried to watch the video in Ireland.
Yeah, we were here
all
for 4.5 hours.
Town manager report.
Well, you do have invoices from the vehicles that we purchased, and I copied out the equipping of the one vehicle that I just put copies on the dais for you. So we are at $120,000 right now. The marshal will bring a quote for equipping the second vehicle. And you'll ask, where are we going to get the money from? And we'll be ready for that one. So anyway, that is there. I also got 2 thank you notes. I left copies for you. We certainly appreciate our students getting a little $100 to do prom. And then Community Fund for Pie River Shares also provided a thank you note. So anyway, we have been talking about a lodging tax. I will be requesting lodging tax ordinances from other communities, mostly our size, looking for a lodging tax. Keep in mind that a lodging tax we're not going to make, a whole lot of money on a lodging tax to begin with, but we have quite a few developments that are considering lodging, including, RV parks, the short-term rentals, and we may only have 5, but we can start looking for
That
more.
we know of.
When there are other issues. A hotel has been suggested in an area that may be, years away, but basically it's better to have a lodging tax at least ready to go versus trying to do it when you have, people that are opposed to it. So it is up to the citizens to make this decision. So we'll be bringing some suggestions to the board. You do have to notify the county clerk. It would be with a coordinated election in November regarding this ballot. And of course, anybody in town will get a ballot with any county issues and the town of Bayfield ballot questions. So a lot of things going on this summer. They couldn't get married for 3 years. Now everybody's getting married in my family. But anyway, I'll be out a little bit. And then some proposed dates for the 2024 budget work session. So we're planning on Tuesday, July 25th. It's the 4th Tuesday. And Tuesday, August 22nd, which is also the 4th Tuesday. These will be the only 2 meetings that would be out of the regular meeting schedule. I just want to make sure that you're kind of checking your schedules to make sure you're available. I think these first 2 are probably the most important. And then a lot of things are just basically propelling us towards 2024's budget and what that looks like. So just want to make sure.
I won't be here the August 22nd.
Okay.
But I can do probably a Zoom unless there's a baby being
There'll
born.
probably be a Zoom
Okay.
option.
Yeah, I may not be able to make August 22nd either.
Okay. Anybody else?
Apparently I have no life. I will be available.
The next 2 meetings are within the regular schedule that you have. October 19th would be my goal to get the final draft of the 2024 budget out, and then a public hearing on November 7th. So it's hard to believe that we're just going to get ready to accept the audit, and we're starting on
Budget
the
season
2022
comes at
audit,
you
and we're going to
fast.
move
It
ahead to
does.
2024. So. Is there, maybe I just need to ask, is there a better date in August? Should we move it to I think there's 5 Tuesdays in August, like the 29th.
I mean,
So for me, I am gone mid-August to mid-September.
Okay.
But I can attend via Zoom, but the closer you get, her due date's the 31st of August.
And we can't piggyback it on our regular scheduled meeting, it's just too big?
You've got some pretty hefty
Yeah.
schedules coming up. I
Okay.
mean, if you
Ouch.
want to put in some late hours,
If you did it sooner in the month, before the 19th, I could be present.
so it would be another night, not the,
Yeah, instead of the 22nd, if you did it August 8th, I could be there. What about you, Char?
That's planning commission, the 8th.
Oh, that's,
yes,
you could do it a
Planning
Wednesday.
Commission, then you have a regular meeting on,
we used to do them on Mondays.
I'm good any other day. Sorry, the 22nd is my anniversary, and we're usually out of town the day or two around that time, so. But other than that, I'm pretty open.
So what about I don't know about what I have on here on the 14th. So you have a work session with the county commissioners that morning at 7:30
On what day?
on the 14th of August. And then you could come back later at night. That'd be a Monday night.
Mm-hmm.
Any,
Why not?
And then we're
Yeah.
back Tuesday evening too?
well, the Tuesdays
We've
are,
always done Monday, and we've done those.
Yeah, I
before. We
appreciate
did a
trying to
Monday, Tuesday,
piggyback those
but-
in on Tuesdays since,
Yeah, I appreciate that too.
yeah.
And normally I would appreciate that too, but I can't be there, so,
On the
that one.
15th.
that's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
So if I'll try the 14th, it'd just be, y'all are going to have a meeting on the 14th and then another meeting on the 15th.
That's fine, I'm okay
Yeah,
with it.
I know, we just love these meetings, so, okay.
Get her done.
Oh my God, can we just not have a chamber meeting on the Wednesday after?
Well, if
I
we
think
do
we're done
that,
with-
we're not going to
I
do
think we're done with
Wednesday
those.
then.
It's also the first, I think it's the first day of school too, so
Okay.
is there items, does anybody have school concerns or,
I've got grandbabies, not
Programs.
school-age children, so I'm good.
all right.
Katie, Tuesday the 19th,
I
Well,
said
we
the
have-
14th.
Tuesday, September 19th, on here.
The next one down.
Yeah,
she's
that's
saying.
that's a regular meeting.
Meeting.
Is that, so you're saying the work session's before the regular meeting,
Yep.
but the time says 6:30, is that 5:30?
It would probably be 6:30
Oh.
and then hopefully that it would be an hour-ish.
Oh, okay.
And
Like
then
what
the
we
regular
did
meeting
to-
would start
like
at
what we did tonight?
7:30,
Okay, cool.
yeah.
Because then the next one was at 5:30, and I'm like, what, all right, okay, perfect. I'm just putting them on my calendar as we speak.
Yeah, this one with department operations combined with capital and labor expenditures is a little more hefty, especially when we just had the work session earlier about things that, for retaining employees, so. Hefty meetings. Joe Shival-Shea. Ryan did a really good job of finding a facilities and maintenance person, and of course, he has been busy almost the day he started. So I should say the day he started. Trying to figure out heating and cooling here in this facility is not an easy job. And then it's just been busy. I think the snow melted and everything came out. So I don't have anything else.
Okay, any questions for Katie on that?
Nope.
All right, Ryan, would you like to highlight your report?
Good evening, everyone. So softball season is underway. We have 16 co-ed teams playing on Monday nights and 11 men's teams on Thursdays, and the season is set to run through mid to late August. We did just start a new session of adult group fitness classes this week. They run every Monday, Wednesday, Thursday at 7 o'clock until July 13th. Special events, it's special event season, so we're getting ready for our first block party on June 15th. Andrew and I met with Ashley the other day just to kind of go over some final details, feel like we're ready to go. Usually June is our biggest block party of the three, so we're excited, we're ready to go. I think we're in good shape. 4th of July event planning is going on. We've had several all-staff meetings here. We did skip our June 2nd one. We just felt like we're in a pretty good spot, so we'll reconvene June 16th, kind of get volunteer and staff duties all lined out. We've got a lot of vendor and parade applications coming in. We've got kids' activities. We'll be able to use the entire soccer field this year, so we're looking forward again to another great event. Fingers crossed, all this moisture, it's looking good for fireworks. We haven't heard anything to the contrary at this point. Parks and facilities, we did meet with Groundwork Studios on May 22nd and kind of relayed all the feedback that we've gotten from the public input and the Planning Commission and the Board of Trustees, and just kind of gave them direction as far as a first revision, so we're waiting to see that from them. We kind of also discussed, setting up a meeting with the Arena Association just to pull them in and, looking at the plan, the surrounding areas that are adjacent to that property, just working with them to see what works best, what their preference is. There could be potential easements that we need to seek out around that area. So I did talk with them. They're definitely open to a meeting. We just got to get that scheduled. As Katie said, Joe Kashivushea. I had to practice that a lot before I could say it. He's just been doing a great job. He is, wouldn't you know it, we bring in a facility maintenance guy and he's finding all kinds of stuff. And he's being really proactive, just a really positive guy, great to work with. I have nothing but positive things to say about him so far. So, glad to have him on board. Ben Malenson is our new full-time parks maintenance worker. He's been working since May 8th. Again, just couldn't be happier with the job that he's been doing. Brought a lot of energy to the parks department. He's also the president of Pine River Youth Baseball, so the softball fields are looking fantastic. So we're really excited to have him on board. And then Michael, is it Wisner or Wisner? Wisner. Michael Wisner is with the Public Works Department. He is helping us out with a couple of our capital improvement projects, the restrooms at Little Pine Park and the municipal water tap at Joe Stevenson Park. So we welcome his expertise, his guidance, his help. We've been meeting a lot with SGM on both projects to try to get, a budget that we can present to the board. And also just kind of hammer out all the details. So it's looking like the next board meeting will definitely we're shooting to have a presentation on both of those projects for your approval or direction. We're definitely good with the municipal water tap. I know Catherine with SGM is still kind of working out a few things for the restroom project, but things are moving along and we're looking good for that June 16th meeting. Senior Center, the Marshall Hogue and a couple of his deputies attended lunch on May 24th to kind of have a informal question and answer session with the seniors. So I was told that went really well. And the Senior Center is hosting an educational session on dementia and Alzheimer's for the community on Tuesday, June 20th at 10 o'clock. And then finally, the Senior Center, we did start the Durango-Silverton Narrow Gauge Railroad donated laptops for the Senior Center, and we have a gentleman by the name of Terry who is very tech savvy and has volunteered to kind of help carry out and run this program. And he takes these donated laptops, gets them configured, and then we've been training the seniors at the Senior Center on how to use laptops and how to browse safely and use a flash drive and all of those type of things. And it's just been a really big hit over there. And the, long term, as we get more donations in of laptops, we hope to send those home with some seniors and, they can use their newly acquired skills. So that's all I have.
I was just going to say, I think the grounds are looking great all over town. I can see the work you guys are putting in, especially with all the rain we're getting. I know the grass is growing fast, but it does look really good.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, I'll definitely pass that along to the guys.
If you would, please. Any other questions or comments?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. We're going to move on to our financial action agenda. Do we have any public input for items 3A through C? All right, moving on to our May disbursements. Oh, wait, we need to, May disbursements. Did everybody get a chance to look at them? Pages 9 through 19 in your packet?
Yep.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion to accept the May 2023 disbursements.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
Should it be approve instead of
She's looking for a discussion.
accept? Okay.
Let's accept.
The additional.
No discussion?
No discussion.
Roll call, please.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
It's approved.
All right, moving on to our Cassell modules for timekeeping, HR, and our 2 licensed seats.
So I believe Miss Amber.
Stay here, or do you
Yes, you can stay right
All
there.
right. So, good evening. Before you is a request for some software additions, and I want to give you guys a little bit of an explanation of why, how this will benefit the town. So I started with the town in the end of March, and in my time here, I've noticed that we have some opportunities to improve our payroll process. First of all, our current timekeeping software does not link with our payroll software. So there's a lot of data entry involved. It's not just time entry, it's leave updates, pay benefit information, so on and so forth. There's also some shortcomings with our current software. Supervisors have to manually enter on-call time for every pay period. The new Cassell timekeeping software will allow for better tracking of on-call hours, time spent working on grants, project tracking, and so on. Another issue is the biweekly printing and distribution of all the employee paychecks. So every time I do payroll, gotta put them in their little envelopes and send them off. It's kind of a waste of the town's time and resources. I'm guessing that most folks just look at their pay stubs and toss them. Having software that gives our employees the ability to access their paychecks online and print them out as needed is not only a benefit to them, but saves staff time as well. So that the proposed software allows the employees the access to their paychecks and W-2 information securely from their own individual logins. The Cassell Human Resources module is designed to keep track of sensitive information and keep us in compliance with federal information reporting and information security. With all of these modules, our productivity will improve significantly, allowing more time for other projects. Also included in this request is a proposal for additional 2 licenses for Cassell. At this time, we only have 4. At any given time, there could be 6 people using Cassell, and we're having to send each other emails like, can somebody get off, or we get kicked off. So the other 2 licenses would be awesome. So that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions?
So for like the clocking in and clocking out, does that affect mostly department heads on that? Or are your employees gonna be?
It'll be the same.
So it'll be the same. It's not
Yeah.
like a whole new learning curve.
It is a little bit of a learning
But not a-
curve because
a
it's
pain in
but they'll clock in and clock out
Okay.
just like they do now.
Okay.
So we would not be utilizing the payroll department anymore.
That's
No.
correct.
Tom, you still gonna get a check in the mail? Oh, okay.
He can still get his paper check if he wants.
I mean, honestly, the last, as long as I've been mayor and hanging around in the office, I've heard about what a pain in the butt this whole situation, especially the logging out, and asking somebody to log out so they can get in. I mean, it's a complete waste of time in the office, to be honest, and a frustration that I've heard of. I know you're gonna talk about budget.
No, I wasn't, because it's
Oh,
actually
it's in
in
there.
there.
Right.
Hey. No, actually, I was gonna ask, does it include W-2s electronically? Well,
Yes.
that's nice, too.
Yeah, I mean, I just think honestly, to get us up to this century and to ease, I'm usually always about making life easier in the office, especially with how much work they have to do. I don't think this is a big ask. I think it will save so much time and effort.
I agree. Sounds like a win-win.
All right. I would entertain a motion, or if we need any further clarification.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion for $5,000 from the document management budgeted funds and the remaining $9,360 to be allocated to the IT code per employee and utility use.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Cesaro,
Yes.
Trustee Harts,
Yes.
Trustee Moreland,
Yes.
Trustee Thomas,
Yes.
Trustee Wolf,
Yes.
Trustee Ah,
Yay.
and Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
And the motion carries.
How long will it take to get that implemented?
So it's 2 to 4 weeks.
Okay. Okay.
Cool.
Great, we'll move on to our office management, HR file management, and document management discussion.
Well, I can't say it any clearer. We have a real problem with our data management and our security for personnel records. Just happened to be that with the goal of moving Amber Lamb to town clerk, she mentioned a file, bunch of folders. Kathy and Amber were both in my office, and I opened it up, and I just wanted to scream. Started with A's. Alexis, all of your personal information would have been available to anybody, or anybody that had access to the server, or if we ever got, hacked. I deleted that file almost instantaneously because not only you, but everybody else is information. So not only that, Marshall Hogue has also found a stack of documents that have been basically in folders and drawers that should be managed and secured. I thought maybe after 3 years we would have had this under control, but we don't. And after looking at some of the files that, you kind of get curious what else is out there. I've got to get somebody that's all they focus on is just office management, document management, and get that stuff secured. It would either be a consultant or an employee. It would not be ongoing. It would be, I'm guessing I have funds to do it for 15 weeks. I'm pretty sure I could do it in 12 based on, the ability of that person, that individual to do it. We would have to go through a certain process. There are certain files that are permanent that don't necessarily need security, but then there's others that would require doing a background check, including fingerprints, just to make sure that we have everything covered. I can just say that it would be hard to accept a no on this one because it's a serious issue.
No, I agree 100%. I mean, if my information was stolen, odds are, and it had a financial impact on me, and I found out it was stolen by the town, not keeping my information secured, I'm sure a lawsuit would happen.
Yep.
Because I wouldn't want to have to pay back whatever was stolen from me. I'd blame the place that it
Absolutely.
got stolen from. And working in banking, that's what we experience as well. That's why we have to be super careful of information. Whoever we have do this, I think a background check is warranted, and just to make sure that they have, sufficient, not going to share that information either in their background. Do you have somebody in mind already, or?
I do have somebody in mind.
Okay.
Are there contracting firms that do this type of work that could just come in for a couple weeks?
There
and get
are
it
there
done?
are contractors.
That'd be so
They're going to
expensive.
expect basically a certain level of software, and so I have Patrick, our IT person, basically looking into software, or he's talking about maybe renting a scanning machine so it'd be secure. It'd be a workstation we would set up in the library and basically get a project going. It wouldn't be immediate, but as soon as I could get things moved around, it would have to, it needs to be done. Let's put it that way.
My other concern is a lot of times when you delete something off of a computer, it's
I
not really
agree.
gone.
Yep.
So you might have deleted the folder, but somebody can bring that folder back.
That's my concern.
Okay,
And so we
so-
do have, what we really want to have IT
IT
do is do
professional.
more investigation about what's been deleted that really needs to be completely cleaned up.
Okay.
So,
And maybe just as a recommendation that you may want to have for staff to send out the 3 credit bureaus and how they can get a hold to freeze their social security
Yep.
to prevent a potential something happening. Yeah, because that also will help you in, if something does happen, that you did try to make steps to protect people.
Right.
We just
Chief?
added to our website the identity theft packet that is for public. So anybody that is a victim of fraud or identity theft within the town of Bayfield or even outside, they can go to our website, download this. It assists them on protecting themselves and who to contact, Department of Treasury, Postal, Social Security, all those entities.
So maybe just reference to that. But make sure that it's something sent to staff so that they have the ability to protect themselves, knowing that this has happened.
So it's ironic that you would use my name because I was hacked and my 2 credit cards and a bank account were compromised this week, so.
It's an expense. I said $20,000 is probably nothing compared if, the
Right.
seriousness of this issue.
Yep.
So can I go ahead and make a motion?
yes.
I'd like to make a motion to reassign the remaining $20,000 to labor or consulting costs for an office manager to manage past paper and electronic documents, protect, organize, review, compliance, retain, destroy, and implement a system that reminds staff of expiration and renewals.
I'll second that.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes?
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, moving on to our action agenda items. Do we have any public input pertaining to items 4A through D on the agenda? All right, moving on to ordinance 488, our model traffic code.
So there is on your mayor, Town Attorney Goldman basically went through that one. So you see his edits, and I've saved those and saved all the edits that he's made.
Yeah, it was pretty minor, very minor, actually. Do we have any questions or any clarification from the board?
No, ma'am.
I would entertain a motion to approve.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 488.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes?
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
Motion carries.
All right, ordinance 489, Bayfield Chief of Police and Police Department.
And you do have the expenditures that has been estimated for that as well, and either Police Chief or Marshal Hogue may want to address that, the board.
Does the board have any questions on that chart?
Bless you.
My only question is, this is gonna be implemented over time? Like, as we need new uniforms, we're getting the,
Attrition's gonna be the most part for vehicles and so forth.
right, and as we need the new vehicles, that's when we get the new stickers and blah, blah, blah?
The older cars that we have now, we're just gonna pull the marshal part off and put the police on. We're not gonna redo anything else on them, just to put the rebranding out there. The uniforms and the badges and the patches, we're still running through designs and making sure we get the right design for our approval before we do any purchases. The change in uniforms. I've noted that a lot of the officers' shoes, pants, shirts were all getting wore out. Now we were stuck, I put a stop on all purchases effective like May 10th. If in case this did go through, then we'd start buying the uniforms again, but I just put a hold on everything until we make a decision on this.
Right, okay.
But we're not waiting for the uniforms and the patches or anything like that, like we are the vehicles? Or are we purchasing them as staff needs new?
The plan is, once we get approval for the new patches and the badges, that we'll buy the uniform so that we are completely outfitted
Okay,
in uniformity.
so it's right away.
Well,
Okay.
This budget here, where it says like 2 pairs of duty pants, is that per officer? So the cost is per officer on that? And how does that fit into the overall budget?
So we have $500 per employee that has a uniform requirement.
Okay.
So that could be part of it. Amber Abdallah keeps track of those specifically per employee, but there could be some additional. But like he said, some of them are wearing out. I haven't seen a whole lot of purchases here in the last couple months.
Okay, so 500 a person, so obviously we might be a bit over on that, but,
Yeah.
okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
So I was just Googling, because I really don't know the difference between a town marshal and a town police. And one thing it said, it's marshal is appointed by the legislature, which doesn't apply because we hired him. And
But we
then-
do appoint. We
Yeah.
still have to appoint.
Okay.
Which we did.
And then on the other hand, the police department is part of the executive branch and answers to a mayor.
So in this particular case,
Yeah.
the marshal and the police, under state statute, are really one and the same. They're interchangeable. What you're looking at is probably the federal marshal that
The
is
town.
appointed by the legislature, the United States legislature. And they're in charge of taking care of prisoners, moving prisoners, and so forth, and also security for the federal courts. But within the state system, the Colorado state system, under Title 31 and so forth, both police and marshal are interchangeable. And what Marshal Hoge's basically been pitching is the fact that he would like to move to what most departments are, that is a police department that most people identify with. And many others think of a marshal as somewhat antiquated, maybe think of Gunsmoke and so forth. And I think that our present marshal is trying to get into the 21st century for purposes of recruiting and so forth.
So the other thing I ran across was that there were different levels of law enforcement expertise, or not necessarily skills. Is there any?
I mean, that might be public perception. I mean, that's what, I think this is an opportunity to rebrand. I have people ask me all the time, marshals, they're kind of lower than cops, right?
Yeah,
I'm
I'm
like,
just
no.
just looking at, right, so, right.
And I'm like, no.
It does say that marshals are lower than
They're not.
police.
They're not.
Statutorily.
Yeah.
In reality, they're not.
They're
So
the same.
interchangeable,
Yes.
back and forth.
Okay.
But I think there's a perception in the public when you hear the word marshal, they either think of the federal marshal, if they've met a marshal and so forth, usually escorting prisoners and so forth, or taking care of security at federal courthouses, or a marshal that is basically also acting as a police chief.
So
So it's just really
It's a matter of semantics,
it's just
honestly.
semantics,
Yeah.
that's all it is.
But I think it gives us the opportunity to legitimize our police department, because I think there's always been a public perception that we are not an actual police department. We are the marshals, and we don't hold the same badge, but which is not true. I mean, I've had people ask, can the marshals even arrest you? I'm like, yeah, they do. They do everything.
Right, that's why I'm asking, because
Yeah.
I don't know, like, I
So-
wanna make sure that. Yeah, I did.
Does your staff get asked that question? Are you allowed to even arrest me?
No one's
Usually it's take that badge off and we'll talk, but But this does allow, what Mr. Goldman says, allows our entity next door to come in alignment with the goals and the future of what the mayor and the trustees and the board are trying to do. We don't want to be separated from the city or even be viewed as a separate entity. We want to be a part of the community and represent as we go forward the way you guys need to be represented. And all of our officers, deputies, are very professional. I'm proud of all of them and the way they represent us. I just want us to have a viewpoint all across the county and the country that we're a police department and we are professional. Not that the marshal didn't give that, but it is the perception. There's a difference, what there isn't. So I'm trying to get rid of that differential perception and give us the same goals and perception that the rest of the town has.
Well, not only that, but I think for like recruitment and everything like that, like rebranding, when you rebrand and you bring new life into something, it will help with that recruitment piece too.
Yes.
Plus, other police officers will understand, oh, I can apply for this. It's a police officer position. Whereas now they go, I'm not sure about that. I'll just go to the next one. Because there's a lot out there right now that are hiring.
Looked at this job, I had to reach out to friends in Colorado. What does the marshal really do?
See, exactly.
Yeah.
That's exactly
That's
the
what I'm
point.
saying.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Rebrand it
You
into
look at
something, make
that.
it easier to get some officers on board.
We can expand our recruiting. We have great, like I said, we have great officers, but I want to make sure that for the future, we are bringing in just as good candidates that we have on duty right now.
All right, do you have any other questions or comments?
I'm still just trying to understand this budget piece of it.
Well, I know, I feel like some of these are,
I'm like, that's like
shot hot.
$9,000 an employee to convert to all these uniforms. So I'm like, I've gotta be reading this wrong. I mean,
we do buy these anyway on a schedule, so,
cool, okay,
Yeah.
that's where I was,
Yeah.
you said 500, I'm like, okay.
The 500 is actually what they already allocate towards
Annual
staff
on top of, okay,
that they can use for each person towards their uniforms.
okay. Okey-dokey. Got it.
all right, any other comments, thoughts?
No, I'm all for it.
I'd entertain a motion.
I'd make a motion to approve ordinance 489.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Cesaro.
Yes.
Trustee Harts.
Yes.
Trustee Moreland.
Yes.
Trustee Thomas.
Yes.
Trustee Wolf.
Yes.
Trustee Ah.
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington.
Yes.
The motion carries.
Ordinance 490, construction specification revision. Ooh,
That's a mouthful.
say that.
Yeah, I guess this is for me.
Yeah, Public Works Director.
So, yeah, there's some sidewalk details that we found some discrepancies with all the development that we have coming up. In the design specifications, it clearly identifies a 5-foot wide sidewalk. And in our sidewalk details that are being used, some of those details you're seeing, we're calling out for a 4-foot wide sidewalk. So this is just housekeeping. We went through and made sure that all of the sidewalk details were consistent with the design specs. And there is one new addition. You'll see this is the last one, I think C6, which is a gutter pan, basically a drain pan that would go across, and we didn't have that in the details, so that's the only addition. The rest of it's just making sure that everything was consistent with a 5-foot wide sidewalk.
Why do we need 5-foot sidewalks?
That's what you guys decided you wanted, was 5-foot wide sidewalks. So we changed the details to match that. It's in the design specs.
I think that was
Yeah,
for ADA purposes, they wanted to have wide enough to,
and bikes and
and bikes. and-
walking and.
Yeah.
So we need them for the ADA.
The ADA ramps are typically a little bit wider than 5 feet. But in your design specifications, you adopted a town standard of 5-foot wide sidewalks. So that's what these details reflect.
So the goal is to give them a detail that they can construct it to that.
So there's no confusion with
Yeah.
the developer.
Can I ask a question, Jeremy? So if you're someone replacing your sidewalk in your neighborhood, what if the neighborhood doesn't have 5-foot sidewalks?
You would go back and match the existing.
Okay.
Where actually, if you guys have driven down Clover, where it turns onto Lupine right there, we had to make that transition back to a 4-foot wide sidewalk section. Otherwise, you're just gonna end up chasing your tail, all the way down for blocks. So, with those current conditions, we're just gonna replace back to the current width. This is for new development that we're seeing coming in right now, and, the town calls for 5-foot wide sidewalks, so we wanted the details to match.
Okay.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve ordinance 490
I would say with the addition of,
with the
C6.
additions of C6.
We have a second?
Second.
All right, we have a motion, second. Any further discussion?
No.
Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Nay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
The motion carries 6-1.
All right, we'll move on to our employee handbook, section 4.70, employment of relatives. We have had this come up before in the past.
Yes, we have.
I'll let you do it, Ryan. Yeah.
Yeah, so this is kind of a follow-up to, my son Cameron is already employed in the Parks and Rec Department as a sports official and a supervisor. We advertised for a park seasonal this summer, and he's interested in the position, and being that it is a new position with a new supervisor, technically, we're just asking for the board's approval on that, just being transparent. We did run the ad for a park seasonal through most of the month of May. I had 2 kids that were interested that were under 16, which they can't operate mowers, trimmers, RTVs, so it severely limits what they can do. So Cameron's just going to be part-time, but he is 17, he has a driver's license and can do everything that's needed. So Mark Robinson would be his direct supervisor.
And any issues, of course, outside of Mark Robinson go directly to you,
To me,
correct?
yes,
Like we did
that's
last
correct.
time. Okay.
Any
I don't have a problem
thoughts,
with
comments,
that.
questions?
Starting working young.
I'd just like to note for the record that I believe Ryan appears to be too young to have a 17-year-old.
For the record.
Make sure that makes the minutes.
I would entertain a
fake
motion to
license.
approve the hiring.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the hiring of Cameron Orndorff.
I'll second that.
All right, we have a motion on a second. Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Zazzaro?
Yes.
Trustee Harts?
Yes.
Trustee Moreland?
Yes.
Trustee Thomas?
Yes.
Trustee Wolf?
Yes.
Trustee Ah?
Yay.
Mayor Tarkington?
Yes.
The motion carries.
All right, we got important dates coming up. Did you have anything to add to that list?
We have our last, comp plan working group meeting, that last Tuesday.
It's 22nd? No,
No, that's,
27.
all right. Okay, and just note, there's no 4th of July meeting and nothing that week.
And I will not be here on the 20th.
Okay. All right, if there's no further discussion, I will adjourn this meeting. It's 8:54.
24 minutes scheduled time.
I thought we were gonna get out of
I
here.
voted against it then, too.